So, guys, I want to talk about AEW Dynasty, and I want to review the match card and offer predictions. And the first thing that I do want to say is that I do wish that there were at least three different matches on the card. That honestly, I do want to see I want to see the Acclaim versus the Bullet Club Gold, and I think that would be a really awesome match. It's like winner takes all for the titles, but I do think that maybe they'll save that for a double or nothing, because obviously no winners take alls. That would make more sense for a double or nothing. For double or nothing. The other match I would like to see is like Dustin Rhodes versus Daniel Garcia, because the reason why I want to see that is because Dustin Rhodes, if you made him chase the ROH title, I think that that would be a good story. Like being that like okay, well he's never been a champion before, he wants to chase a title, so I think that would be good. It gives Daniel Garcia some momentum because if they're going to build him up as a star, they need to kind of have him have a match. And then also, Dalton Castle got a really great reception. So, what would happen if you did Dalton Castle versus like Shane Taylor, or maybe against Matt Hardy or somebody that could like, that could job very well for him. That would definitely, for me, I think that that would be good usage, just to have like those three matches. So I printed it off Wikipedia, so this is in no particular order. So first of all, Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson. I do want to see this match, so I'm happy that they're having this on the card, and I will say that Will Ospreay will win because I do think that they want to set him up as a really big star, and I also think that what they're going to try to do is have him break away from the Don Callis family. So the way to do that is kind of make him a big star. Maybe he earns the respect of Bryan Danielson, and then they're like, okay, well, maybe he's going to join the Blackpool Combat Club. Don Callis feels a little concerned about it. He beats Will Ospreay, and then it's going to be the Blackpool Combat Club with Will Ospreay versus the Don Callis family, and that could be like a feud until you have at Wembley Stadium Will Ospreay, compete for the AEW championship, because that'd be the way to do it. If you want to sell at Wembley Stadium, make Ospreay win the AEW championship there. Don't do something like hold it off for too long. The next match is the Young Bucks versus FTR ladder match. So there's a couple of things that I don't think this really needs a ladder match, because obviously they've not done anything with ladders. So it's just to throw in there. I would rather see a stipulation for Samoa Joe versus Swerve Strickland, but they don't need the ladder thing. But definitely because of the controversy and everything like that, my biggest hope is that Jack Perry actually shows up. So I'm definitely interested in seeing this match. I would say that the Young Bucks are going to win. It makes sense storyline for the Young Bucks to win. If FTR wins, then they kind of wasted the footage and everything like that, really. So I think the Young Bucks is going to win. And if they really want to sell this match, Jack Perry should actually help them win. And then the next match, Julia Hart versus Willow Nightingale. House rules match for the AEW TBS Championship. So there's a couple of things I want to say is that you have Mercedes Moné versus Willow Nightingale. You have Mercedes Moné competing for the TBS Championship at Double or Nothing. Whoever wins this and becomes TBS, whoever wins this is going to hold the TBS Championship, and then that person's going to face Mercedes Moné. So I do think that Willow Nightingale is actually going to win this for that reason. And then the other thing too is that Julia Hart's been holding the title for a very long time, and she's not really done anything with it. Like, no interesting stories except her versus Abaddon, because they're both like spooky characters. So if you want to tell a good story, you give it to Willow Nightingale, and Willow Nightingale faces Mercedes Moné. That would be the story you'd want to tell. So I do think that they're going to try to be more story-based, and it makes sense for Willow Nightingale to win. Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe versus the House of Black. I really would say that my prediction would be on Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe, because I think in the majority of the show you want the heels to win. So you got to have some matches where baby faces win to make everybody feel happy. they could definitely kind of tease the jealousy between Eddie Kingston and Mark Briscoe because Mark Briscoe is now the ROH championship. What would happen if Adam Copeland's like, okay, I want to throw myself in there and win the ROH title and add that to my career? So that could be really interesting. I do think that the three of them kind of being jealous over Briscoe holding the ROH title, and them kind of like maybe having a rivalry over it, or one of them turns heel over it type of thing. I think that would actually be the direction they should go in. But I think the House of Black actually losing, it doesn't really hurt them. They could be booked strongly in something else really. But I do think that the House of Black, it doesn't hurt them to lose. It does more for Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe if they win, and then they're kind of like have some jealousy over the ROH title, over the ROH championship, and you got to do something with that. You can't kind of have a title like that mean like nothing. It's just a pass around title. If you want to set up a story with it, you would have them win and then kind of be like, oh well, I'm jealous Mark Briscoe has it, so we'll do something with that. Timeless Tony Storm versus Thunder Rosa. Tony Storm should win. Obviously, there's really no woman on the roster that's telling a really good story outside of Mercedes Moné and Willow Nightingale. There's no other like story that's kind of compelling, so you have to keep it on Timeless Tony Storm until she finds an opponent that can have a very compelling story, and then actually just take it off of her. But until you find that person, she should be holding her title. It makes no sense to take it off of her, even though her gimmick's getting kind of stale. So keeping on Tony Storm, best for business, and that's what they're gonna do. For the Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, Mark Briscoe House of Black match, yeah, that's cool. I would love to see it. Tony Storm match, I'm not really into Tony Storm. She does a little too much comedy, really. So I do think that, I would not. I don't really want to see that match, but I don't mind it. So I would say like to me it's like 2 out of 5. For me, as far as interest. The next match is Kazuchika Okada versus Pac. They're both great wrestlers. They have really great performances. They're both very aerial. They're aerial wrestlers. They're both very high endurance wrestlers, very tour de force wrestlers. So I would love to really see that match, really. I do think that Okada is going to retain because you have to set him up as a big deal. He's also a former NJPW champion. I think he's a 5-time NJPW champion. And Pac's not won a heavyweight title. So it makes no sense for Pac to actually beat him. And then it's like, okay, maybe what could happen at Double or Nothing is that if you bring in Jack Perry, Okada, and then the Young Bucks, they can go after the trios titles, both the 6-man and both the AEW on trios. If they go after those titles, then you can probably do Death Triangle versus 3 members of the EVPs. So I think having Pac lose is actually better. It's better, and that's what they're going to do, really. But it can set up a feud because that's kind of the thing. You should not be taking titles off of people unless there's a feud and there's a lot of like momentum around the other person. But if you want to set up a Death Triangle versus EVP's feud, having Okada retain and then eventually having the Young Bucks kind of like take titles and all that, that would be the best thing. Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly should win, and he will win this match because what has Roderick Strong done? And then the other thing too is that Kyle O'Reilly just came back. He's acted very, very seriously. Where Roderick Strong has kind of been very comical with the old Adam and the devil and like being MGF's like friend until he turned, really. So I think taking the title off of Kyle O'Reilly does good. That's kind of almost like, what do you do with Kyle O'Reilly? I mean, how is the how are Adam Cole's faction going to react with Kyle O'Reilly holding the title, and then he's kind of on like, do I want to join you guys? Do I not want to join you guys? Type of thing, really. So I think that it creates more intrigue for him to win it, and then now it's like, okay, this is like their first. This is like a title that switches between the faction if Kyle O'Reilly wants to be with them. And if he doesn't want to be with them, then they kind of lose the title, and then it's like, oh well, now we want to kind of kick their ass. Now we want to kick his ass because he took a title away from our group. So I think that giving the to Kyle O'Reilly would be the best thing. and that's the direction that they're going to go in. Samoa Joe versus Swerve Strickland. Like I've said, that honestly, because they've both been very vicious wrestlers, this should be a St. Louis death match, but I don't think they're going to do this. Unfortunately, this is a match I want to see, and I'll be very happy if Swerve wins. And I think for a lot of reasons he should win, because obviously the biggest thing that it will do is it would put more attention on AEW. You know, if you have Jack Perry come on the show, that would put a lot of attention. If you have Swerve Strickland win, that would put a lot of attention. And also, you know, and also too, like with Samoa Joe, you know, he's had good matches, but, you know, what has he kind of done, really? And then the other issue is that you've had a trilogy of matches between Adam Page and Strickland, and now you just have 2 matches with Samoa Joe and Swerve. I'm a little afraid that they may say, okay, well, Swerve is a trilogy person, so maybe we're going to have the same match again at Double or Nothing. So I do think that would not be good, because obviously it's like, oh, well, same old, same old, same old. I also feel that, you know, Swerve does a lot, having him win does a lot of things, and I think that for a time that's been really controversial for AEW, having something new works for them. But I would kind of say that I really think that they're going to have Swerve should win. It is the best choice, but they're going to keep on Samoa Joe, because I think Samoa Joe is a safer champion, because he can always turn heel or he can turn babyface. I also think that he looks like a real champion. Like Swerve, he has some muscles, but Samoa Joe looks like an MMA fighter. Like, he has like the body of a champion. And that's like the safest thing to keep it on Samoa Joe. And I think my concern is that instead of putting it on another person, they're probably going to do two things. They're either going to give it to Adam Cole next, or they're going to have MJF come back and get the title back, or they're going to put it on Will Ospreay. I don't think that they're going to put it on Swerve, just because AEW likes long title reigns, and they may see the Swerve thing as a fad, really, you know. So I do think that wouldn't be good. Or they may say, well, we'll put the title on you in Tacoma, Washington during Wrestle Dream. But I think for right now, to do something different, I would have like Swerve hold the AEW championship. He should win, but importantly, I do not think, if I was a betting man, I was to bet money, AEW will not do that, just because they feel it's safer with Samoa Joe. Because I think that with Swerve, also, he's not really that charismatic on the mic, you know. He does have the dance, he does say some things that kind of can connect with people. But I do think that I wonder, you know, okay, well, Swerve versus Bryan Danielson, Swerve versus Adam Copeland, you know, how would Swerve react in those situations? We've also not seen a lot of feuds with Swerve where he's kind of been a good mic person. So you need to have that to be a good AEW champion. So maybe I just really think that Swerve is not ready, but he should probably be in a Jade Cargill situation. Just give him the title, and then he kind of like works on himself as he's holding a title. I think that's the best thing. And then if he can't really deliver, you know, by Double or Nothing, you know, you can always do something like the winner of the Casino Battle Royale has a match with Swerve after he has a match with Samoa Joe or somebody else, and then they actually take the title off of Swerve if that doesn't work. But overall, I think Samoa Joe is the choice that they're going to stick with. It's a safer choice because, you know, Samoa Joe looks like a champion. He has a name. He has some popularity with him. But I would love to see Swerve win, but I think they're going to stick with Samoa Joe. So overall, I think with this card, I would kind of say, you know, I would say like a 3.5 out of 5. I do think that the big issue is that they've not had a really good build because of focusing 2 weeks on CM Punk. I also think that definitely Battle of the Belts was a clunker, and also Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor was a clunker because they've not really kind of built those shows. So when I look at AEW and they have all these shows and they're kind of like, okay, well, this one's not, okay, we're going to overlook this one, we're going to look that one, but Dynasty, we're going to care a little bit about it. That's not good storytelling. All the shows should matter, and then it should lead to some other feuds and storytelling at Dynasty. So, I mean, the whole selling point of Revolution was Sting's retirement. In Dynasty, there's really no selling point outside of really what are they going to do with the CM Punk footage? Are they going to use it as an opportunity for Jack Perry to come back to the company and be a mega heel, and that's gonna really sell. That's really the selling point of this pay per view. The next thing is Swerve Strickland winning the AEW championship, but that's kind of been put at such a back burner that that's not really the main focus. The main focus is Jack Perry going to come back, and how is the AEW audience going to react to it? And that's that really. I'm actually going to go to St. Louis and actually watch the show and tell you guys how it is. So it's a card that I'm looking forward to. And I'm also happy that they have 8 matches. They're not doing something like 12 matches, because then it becomes way too much, really. So, it's a good show. So definitely Double or Nothing. They can go 12 matches, make that a 4-hour show. This should be like a 3-hour show. So that's all I got to say. So I'm definitely happy to go down and see in person and then tell you guys how it is.